Hello, it's Phillip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. Today I'm looking at a book which has come to us from Globe Law and Business. We've reviewed many of their books over the years. They are first-class publishing house and they produce very high quality research material and very useful practical books for the legal profession and legal matters national and international. Now this book is called The Independent Bar, of which I am a member because I'm a barrister at law. It's got a subtitle, Insights into a Unique Business Model. Now, I suppose it is a bit unique because we are rather different from the main type of work ethic and activity that people have, but that's probably because of the work that we do as barristers. Now, the foreword to the book has been written by Chantal-Aimee, Doerries, Queen's Counsel. She was until recently chairman of the Bar Council, and it's a first-class foreword which I advise you to read. Also, the consulting editor who's brought this book together is David Barnes. Now, Elizabeth and I talked about the book. In fact, I was delighted when Sean asked us to review the book, and we've given the title for our review, The Best Way Forward for Barristers' Chambers in the 21st Century. Bit of a big sort of statement that, but in fact it does actually give you a great deal of assistance because Sean O'Neill and her colleagues have come up, I think, with a really good book. Here it is, there's the front. It's only a small book, it's a bit of a hardcover there. There's the front, then there's the spine, and then there's a bit of blurb on the back which you probably can't make out at all. Now, the book runs to not a particularly large number of pages, you will be pleased to hear. There's some advertising at the back on other books that Globe have been producing. And then what you've got right at the back is a short index, you can see that, with page number referencing. Now there's the index start there. The total number of pages is 160 odd. You can see the way the book is laid out from the back of it. Now let's go to the front. There again is the front page. Let's turn it over so you can read it. Then you can see the table of contents, setting out what's actually in the book. It runs to a range of current comments. It looks about women in the law, well-being, compliance and risk management, technology, pro bono, international matters, marketing, recruitment, practice management, finances, strategy, and so forth. There's the foreword. A lot of people involved in this. Do read the foreword. Then for each chapter you'll see it's a person who has actually come and put together particular points. Now at the back you will have a list of all the people who are the authors. So I haven't mentioned them all by name, but some of them I'm sure you will know by name or you'll know personally. But I did find this book to be extremely helpful. It deals with everything that we are dealing with at the Independent Bar at the present time, and as the Independent Bar is going through an interesting national and international series of changes, as the law itself changes, the withdrawal from the European Union being a big issue, of course, because of the nature of the common law and where we stand within Europe. But more than that, it's looking at where our role will be in the future as advocates. And I think that is always an important point to bear in mind, bearing also in mind the fact that the young bar, the much more junior people coming up into the profession is now much smaller, although the bar itself is about 15,000 strong. So what do we say about the book? We say this: here's a book that should be in every chamber's library. Another big statement, containing as it does a wealth of informed, authoritative and practical advice in how to run a barrister's chambers profitably in a fiercely competitive legal environment, because it's a business actually like anything else. Remember, most of us we're all sole traders. That's what I am as a member, but I'm on my own. Now, so it's not entirely and exclusively then about the Independent Bar as such. Rather, the focus centres on the bar as a business, and that I think is an important factor for everyone to bear in mind, because it's something which quite a lot of my colleagues probably didn't realise when they were reading law at university and saying, I want to be a barrister, I want to do this, that and the other. And then they didn't realise actually there's a lot of business involved in it, not just the intellectual appreciation of legal points and so forth. It's a bit more than that. So the subtitle contains more of a hint about the book's orientation and content. It asserts, even to the sceptical, that the practice of law is not confined to the law or knowledge of it. While law is obviously the most important component in the barrister's armoury of intellectual weaponry, there's also the requirement of managing a barrister's chambers as efficiently as possible. And I've seen one or two that haven't been, as I'm sure many other people have. So you get some idea that you've got to be, if you like, involved in a number of aspects of what we do, business as well as the legal content of representing people, say, in court or in other tribunals. Now, as a former chairman of the Bar Council, Chantal-Aimee Doerries remarks in the foreword that the book reflects how much the typical barrister's chambers has moved into the 21st century. And how right she is. Referring specifically to the Bar of England and Wales, the book provides insights into what consulting editor David Barnes has categorised as, quote, a unique business model, he's right too, which enables a diverse mix of specialists to practice as self-employed barristers under the umbrella of a chambers, and that's exactly what I have been doing for the last 25 odd years. Now, steeped in heritage and history, the concept of a barrister at law as a self-employed practitioner is the essence of the independent bar, even though there are certain of its members for whom the term business model might sit rather uncomfortably. And that certainly, in my view, was the position some 50 years ago when I first wished to be a barrister and the bar was about 2,200 people. It was a very different place and a very different type of work in those days, and how things have changed since 1970. Now, having said all of that, the book, which is a recent publication from Globe Law and Business, provides ample confirmation, in our view, of the manifold ways in which the Bar of England and Wales has evolved and will continue to evolve into the digital age and eventually the new era of artificial intelligence. And I say that because you just have to go to a bar conference to understand that we are not about to wind up and stop practicing. Our requirements and the requirements which clients have for our services are very substantial and will remain whatever else happens because of, as has been described by bars, the unique business model, the unique service we actually offer. And that, I think, is an important factor because it doesn't really matter what other things occur. There's still going to be a requirement for people like myself and other people. Whether one likes it or not, there will be. Now, the book provides the invaluable insights and advice of no less than 14 experts from some of London's legal leading chambers. They're all actually legal, if I put it that way, but it's from the leading chambers in London. And this is a high-level consultancy book, in our view, honed in high-stress chambers environments. So it's not quite as relevant to me in my relatively less stressed environment as a sole practitioner. Now, in addition to the chapters on strategy, finance and practice management, there are sections on marketing and branding, including best use of social media, which I again thought was very useful because that's often something that's ignored. You've also got recruitment and technology. But do check out the treatise on well-being, which is the big thing at the moment for the bar, risk management and women in law, which again is an important growing factor because there are more women than men now reading for the bar. Of course, the latter demonstrates too that women have come far in the legal profession in the past 20 years alone, but of course not far enough. And there have been a lot of obstacles in the way. If one thinks about not that long ago to the very first female being called to the bar, and the way in which things have changed really very quickly, and hopefully there will be further changes in the years to come. There's also, of course, a useful chapter in the book on developing the business of the chambers internationally, which I do think, because of the Bar's International Committee work, is something again that's becoming much more prominent than it was in the past. And this is the first book, says Chantal-Aimee, that addresses the wide range of topics which, with any manager of a barrister's chambers, needs to be familiar. So for barristers, and certainly their clerks and practice managers, we think that this book is as a practical guide, is a stimulating and a profitable read. And as I've said before, you should really have a copy for your chambers and make sure that your colleagues know of it and have read it. The publication date is cited as at the 26th of March 2018, and I'm recording this in the late spring. Let's just have a look at this book again. Nice green cover. There we go. That's the front, then there's the spine, and then there's the back. If I just open it in the middle, see where we are. We've got some tables here. The science behind the issue. Bit of scientific stuff there. This is actually looking specifically at well-being. This is actually the way in which the bar's journey to date on well-being, which, as I say, is an important point. Staying well at the bar, supporting colleagues and recognising the signs of problems. There have been a lot of difficulties at the bar which has been left unsaid. One of the reasons for that is the unsavoury stuff we have to deal with. I've had to deal with it certainly in practice. I've had to deal with it in the armed forces as well. So I'm familiar. The judges certainly have had to do a lot of what is very unsavoury work. And it's not for the squeamish, the bottom line on that. But I'm very glad to see that there is a modern approach which is going to be of great assistance to people in the future. And on behalf of all of us practising, I'd like to thank Sean and Nicola and everybody at Global Law and Business for producing this work. I think it's a great help to all of us, and I'm very grateful to you all for doing so. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.